Hello, friend. Welcome to the forecast for December 9th through 15th. There is going to be a lot of moon action happening. That means there's going to be a lot happening inside, a lot internally. And almost every single day is an event. And then we close out the week with a full moon in Gemini. So I'm very excited to share the forecast with you so that you can prep yourself for what is to come. My name is Desiree DeLune. Welcome to my channel. I'm an acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer, and I am here to equip you with the information you need so that you can prepare yourself each week with all of the sensations and feelings that you get to go through. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share away if you find this information helpful, and remember to hit that bell so that you're notified every time a new video is up. Okay, big screen. One sec. Here we go. I'm going to move this up. Okay. Now, we're going to start off with our Sun and Mercury. Remember, Mercury is officially in retrograde, and it will be in here till the middle of December. And just so you know, this has to do with our communication, with our technology, with our travel plans. Those are the things we're going to want to slow down in and double check and recheck and revisit and make sure that we are thorough, because sometimes there's going to be some glitches in these areas. So just take your time and make sure that you are expressing clearly what you mean so that miscommunication and misunderstandings do not happen. We want to prevent it as much as possible. And if you're having some issues with technological things in your life, mechanical things, that could be as a result of Mercury retrograde as well. Now, we have Sun in Sag and Mercury in Sag, so Sagittarius. So this means we have still a lot of fire energy. Not only that, we've got our moon over here at the very beginning degree of Aries, which is also in a fire sign. So on Monday, and Mars is in a fire sign, granted it's in retrograde, basically we're going to feel a lot fired up. Now, in Sagittarius, there is a lot of inspiration. There is a lot of hope and possibility and enthusiasm and all those wonderful things. We do need to be cautious, though. This is kind of the theme that I'm noticing a lot. Like, oh my gosh, I have these, big ideas and dreams and aspirations and goals, and I want to make this come true. And then we get hit with like all of this. Hey, is that really possible? Is that realistic? So we'll see that theme quite a bit. But yeah, so this Jupiter already in opposition to the Sun tells us that, hey, we'll probably feel very hopeful and optimistic about something we want to, bring forward or something we want to explore. And at the same time, we don't want to get too fantastical. We don't want to over exaggerate, a possibility or an outcome. And this can also just create a lot of excess in our lives. Jupiter is very big. It likes to grow. It likes to expand. So it expands all kinds of things, whatever it touches. And so even like our thinking, Sagittarius is about our beliefs and our philosophies. And so we're revisiting a lot of that with this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. We're revisiting how we view things and how we think about things and how we approach things, especially that part of your chart, whatever house it is. For me, it's in my fourth house. So it's about revisiting, my philosophies and beliefs around family and around home, to give you an idea. So yeah, a lot of revisiting of how we're thinking of things. And I would say for the most part, you're gonna feel this need and desire to act and move with all of this fire energy. But there's so many other factors here that are saying, hey, slow down and take your time and comb through things just a little bit more before you make that final move and make that final action. Now we have our moon here in Aries. Aries is already super fiery. Okay, it's the starter. It's the independent. It's the let's just do it and figure it out as we go. It doesn't really need to plan thoroughly before acting. It's more of an I'm going to act now and then we'll start figuring things out once we're there. So your moon is going to want to be impulsive, possibly. It's going to want to take some risks. So you're going to have that extra like desire to just act without thinking, of course. You'll be more courageous. You'll be more bold. I mean, overall, like those feelings are going to be inside of you. And I just encourage you with all of these retrogrades, with Mars in retrograde and with Mercury in retrograde, have those feelings all you want. But again, take your time before you act. It can also bring about some frustration with with Moon being in Aries, some irritation, like you want to move faster, but the world isn't moving fast enough for you. So there could be that tension there. So I do recommend getting pretty physically active if that internal like frustration is rising up inside of you and the world's not responding at the pace that you would like to go, then make sure to move your body. Okay. Just get some good sweat out, like go ahead and go to the sauna, go walk out in the sun if there is any, if it's not clouded right now, but get yourself around heat is the point with the moon being in Aries, or generate heat internally. And that will help you to process and move through all of these emotions and all of these sensations, especially with our moon being here in Aries in a fire sign. Okay, now we also have Moon right in conjunction, meaning they're pretty close together. They're only a few degrees apart from each other with Neptune. And with this Neptune here, this is going to create heightened sensitivity to your surroundings. Look, one of the things that Neptune does is it dissolves boundaries, it dissolves borders. So this is going to make our bodies and our physical body and our energy body a bit more sensitive to our external environment. If you have followed me for a while, this would be a good day to put on some extra boundaries blend or protection blend just to support your moon a little more, considering the fact that Neptune is right near it. Now, there's some positive things about it. It's not just all, there's always like a side, an expression that is more challenging, and then there's an expression that is very empowering and uplifting. And what I do like about this conjunction is that it increases our intuitive insights. It increases our sensitivities. It increases our creativity and imagination. So that's a huge win here. And I always take that. I will always receive that if I can get more intuitive clarity. That's something that is very precious to me, and I'm sure it is to you as well. So one of the things too we need to be cautious about, especially since Neptune is in Pisces too, escapism. There may be a desire. I mean, look, Sagittarius is already kind of like adventurous, free spirit, right? And then our moon is like, I want to go on an adventure too. I want an exciting journey and just get going and travel the unknown. But then you have Neptune to add to this mix that is just like, I just want to escape reality. I don't want to deal with the everyday, practical, mundane, like nitty gritty stuff. I want to have this, existential experience. With Neptune, it is about spirituality. So it's about things that are unseen. It's the unseen realms. And it also rules things like poisons, like alcohol, like hallucinogenics. So we could see here pretty like risky with Moon in Aries, risky, daring kind of escapism that you normally wouldn't do, that is present here. There's that opportunity for that. So we just want to make sure. Here's another reason why, like, slowing down, because this can bring about some very unrealistic expectations as well, more fantastical and not grounded in reality. There's just a lot of energies that can take us to a place of not, to maybe being, I don't want to say delusional, but make that our dreams and our ideas are not going to be practical, not able to manifest here physically. So we want to be cautious of that. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So just get grounded too. Very important on this week. We do have Moon sextile Venus, which is a nice aspect here that can also stimulate creativity and imagination as well, artistic expression. But it's also nice for going on adventures since Moon is in Aries with some friends or a loved one, your partner, something like that. That'll be really, really nice too. And one thing to note, a lot of our relationships this week, they're going to be the ones that deeply affect us and deeply move us. And they are ones that are there's a lot of loyalty, there's a history there, and you may see this revisiting, especially with retrograde season. There's a lot of revisiting of old that could happen as well. So you may be kind of circling back to some of these friendships that have been around, but you haven't really nurtured, but they're very meaningful and profound connections throughout your life. And so there may be like a revisiting that is happening there. All right, so let's also talk about Moon trine Mars. I do love that. There's a blue line right here between Moon and Mars. Now, look, Mars is in retrograde. Mars is our energy, it's our vitality, right? It's our desires, and it's in Leo, so it's our self-expression too. Now, with this retrograde, we're evaluating truly what our desires are. We're revisiting that. We're making sure that our passions and our desires are in alignment with who we are today, this next evolution of us. So it's kind of like a reflective period. When there's so much retrogrades happening, we have Uranus in retrograde too, we have Jupiter in retrograde. There's so much reflection, internal work that is happening before we just move forward. And look, this retrograde season, well, Mercury's till mid-December, but the Mars one is all the way towards the end of January. So it's not going to be until, and then Venus goes into retrograde right after that. But it's not going to be until like February, March, where we're going to feel this desire to take on the new year. So if you don't feel that right away in January, that's normal. That's what's presenting energetically in the cosmos. So take your time. There may be a part of you that just wants to go and rush. I get it. I get it with the moon here in Aries. But at the same time, like we have to be patient. We have to be patient and do all of our reevaluations and assessments before we make that final decision. Okay, but Moon trine Mars, it will bring some passion and energy and enthusiasm. You're going to feel more connected to your desires and passions as well. It is a good time for physical activity. Hopefully this gives you a little bit surge of energy. And then we also have Moon sextile Pluto. Now, Pluto is deep healing work and transformation. What I notice a lot in this whole week. So by the way, the stuff I'm talking about Monday is going to extend. Majority of what I'm talking about is going to be extending to the end of the week. But with Moon trine Pluto, Pluto is it's a really great planet to help us to reflect on our emotional world, our internal life, and our subconscious. A lot of our subconscious things come to the surface when there is an interaction with Moon and Pluto. So you'll be able to access these deeper patterns that are hidden and stored within you, because that's the thing with Pluto. It deals with what's hidden, and with Moon you're going to have access to what is hidden underneath, that is driving your patterns, that is driving your behaviors and your feelings and your everyday. So this is a really great season or a great day to be doing that kind of deep emotional, energetic, transformative work, and allow Pluto to work within you. That's something I've really embraced this past year. Pluto sometimes gets a bad rap because, it is like the planet of destruction and it's the planet of the underworld. But if we don't touch on what's hidden, how can we ever truly transform and change the things that are actually driving it all, which is our subconscious mind? Okay, so that's a little discussion on that. We do have Venus opposite Mars right here. So we have Pluto opposite Mars and Venus opposite Mars. I've talked about the Mars opposition to Pluto pretty extensively in previous forecasts. But we also now have Venus in opposition to it. And so this can bring some conflicts within our very close personal relationships, our love partnerships. It can create this push pull too of like, oh my gosh, I want you so badly. I want to be with you. And then, oh, I can't stand you. so like really being very passionate and romantic 1 second. And then just like the need for I need independence and freedom, because Mars can represent that independence and freedom too. So there could be this back and forth internally that you have of how you experience a friend or a close friend or a partner, for example. But, overall, I said earlier, like Venus with Pluto being so close together, a lot of our relationships are going to be very profound in our lives. The ones that we're going to be engaging in and interacting with, they're those real soulful relationships, and they hold so much meaning, and they hold a lot of healing energy within those relationships. So that's the kind of ones we're probably going to be drawn to at this time. All right, so that Venus opposite Mars will stick around till around December 16th. Now, let's talk about the last aspect for Monday, and then we're going to transition to Tuesday, and Tuesday is a much happier moon day. But Jupiter square, with this Jupiter right here, and it is square Saturn. Now, this aspect here, this red square between Jupiter that looks like a 4 and Saturn that looks like an H with a line over it, this is going to be around till January 22nd. And look, Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion, as I've said, and then Saturn is about restriction. It's about constraint. It's about practicality. It's realistic. So we'll be coming up against these challenges, like we want to stretch and expand in this area, but then we come up against this delay. We come up against this complication upon this problem. And you know what? With everything else and all these fire signs, you have the resilience, the power, the courage to move through it. Okay, move through it, lean into it. Okay, surrender into it, and fight where you need to fight, surrender where you need to surrender. But the point is, like, even though we have these challenges, it is what is causing us to grow. It is supporting and helping us to grow. Just like when you are doing resistance training, putting that resistance against the muscle, lifting weights, tearing down the muscle helps to build the muscle, right? So that kind of concept here, but on a spiritual, energetic level here. So we're going to be facing some challenges, and that's just how it is. And we're going to come across some restrictions, and but I feel that with all of the other planets in the fire signs, at least on this day, for a time, like especially with all the Sagittarius energy, like you can have that. You'll see the silver lining. You'll see the value and the worth in moving into these obstacles and working through them. Okay, it's worthwhile. And that's the thing with Saturn, is Saturn teaches us like what battles to pick. We're not going to waste our time, because Saturn is also very strategic as well. Okay, so that is our forecast for Monday. Now let's go ahead onto Tuesday, and Tuesday is a much nicer moon day. There's a lot of blue lines that are going to the moon. Now, moon is still in Aries. It'll be in Aries until Wednesday. So we still have that like courage and excitement and adventure and passion. A lot of passion here, and bravery. It's just such a brave sign. Like it even if it has fears, like it doesn't stop. doesn't stop it at all. It leans into the fears. And that's why I'm saying all this like leaning in, and the moon is helping us to do that. Now, our moon is in trine with sun, and trine with sun is always a nice aspect. It's very harmonious between like our identity and our feelings. We're feeling really at one with ourselves, at peace with ourselves, finding flow internally. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I thought I was looking at something else. So it also brings a lot of confidence. I mean, we already have the confidence from moon in Aries, but then now with trine with the sun, now it's just, we're just going to feel more confident in ourselves, which is very nice. And just a lot more self-awareness too. So we have that one. We also have moon in trine with Mercury, which then brings a lot of emotional intelligence and understanding and self-awareness as well, and being able to express our feelings, communicate our feelings. So lovely aspect there. Then we also have moon sextile Jupiter, which is another blue line. Yay. Now, Jupiter, is in retrograde. However, with this sextile here, we're going to feel a bit more hopeful and a bit more optimistic, and, see that silver lining. So you have the courage, you have the clarity of more clarity, and you also have optimism. You have hope. So what a nice combination. Even if, we've got that Saturn square Jupiter, even though there may be some issues that we're coming up against, we don't feel defeated by them. We're like, bring it on. That's kind of the sense, like, bring it on. I can handle it. I can do it. Let's just plow through. Let's get through this, because we're going to come out victorious on the other end. And it's going to lead us to something better. So I really love the feelings and the sensations that we have here internally on Tuesday. Now, it's quite a contrast on Wednesday, okay? Because on Wednesday, the moon is squaring off to multiple planets, multiple. Not all, it's just like 1, 2, 3, and there are a lot. So let's talk about, moon is still in Aries, moon is still fiery, passionate, excited, okay? Can be impulsive, can be a little bit, restless and frustrated, irritable too, as well. That's one of the more difficult aspects of Aries. To add to that, we have, first, let's talk about moon square Venus. It is squaring Venus here. It's also squaring Pluto. So this means that some of our relationships, we may have some conflicts here, possibly just mood swings when it comes to just getting more triggered and irritated by the people in our lives. But it can lead to misunderstandings and some conflict. So be cautious, please. And then we also have moon squaring off to Pluto, because, Venus and Pluto are pretty close together. So you see both of these squares. Now, this one heightens our sensations. So with all of these squares, or we'll talk about Mars square in a second, like, I feel like the anger, the irritability, the frustration, all of that can be way heightened with this squaring off with Pluto. Pluto intensifies things. And when we're talking about the moon, it's always going to intensify the feelings. It's going to intensify the emotions. So we may have more challenges. I mean, look, we also have Mars squaring off to the moon, which can bring more anger, frustration, irritability, tension, conflicts, problems, obstacles that can add to that. And so with the Pluto, now we've just really magnified that by 10, and we may have to do a lot of confrontation on this day. And however, even though it's tumultuous, okay, it is very transformational. It's very profound. And so just like I said before, lean into it, because this is going to, well, now, okay, look, we have this whole T square here. So we have Mars and Pluto in opposition, and they're both squaring, and same with Venus, also in opposition. Yeah, definitely with some of the people in our lives, there may be some fights and arguments that rise up, but you have to feel all of that, because the moon is at the apex. So it is calling you to really just surrender to the feelings of that intensity and let it move through you and move out you. That's my best recommendation. Don't try to suppress or run or hide. I mean, there really is no hiding. I think it's just going to explode outside of you. So, do what you need to do, say what you need to say. I do recommend, there's so much heat that is circulating here. Go run or do some kind of explosive workout or like HIIT training or sweat in a sauna. Like, I do recommend doing that because I think it will help ease the amount of energy that is like pressure cookering. That's not a word, but it's like a pressure cooker. It is so much. It is so much that you really need to have a physical release. Okay. Got to have a physical release. I strongly encourage that, especially we have Mars, and and Mars is the ruler of Aries. So, there's just so much Mars fire energy here that we really need to dissipate, is my point. And maybe adding some cooling elements will be nice too, like drinking peppermint tea to give you an idea. Have some cucumbers and celery. Those are very cooling foods. This is based on Chinese medicine theory and Chinese kitchen medicine that I teach. So basically have cooling foods. This would not be a day to be eating like a bunch of hot, spicy foods. Okay. All right. So there's that. We also have Mercury, one saving grace. We have Mercury that is in sextile with Venus. So that is nice. That's going to help in the conversations that we have with these people or whoever we need to talk to. So I like that we could at least talk through it. We can talk through it and be productive in our conversation through that as well. All right. Now, that is Wednesday. Let us know what happens on Wednesday. Here's Thursday. Thursday, we have a big change. It's just, I'm seeing this big swing from happy moon day. And then all of this conflict and tension. And then, now we're happy again. So there's a lot of bouncing back, a lot of oppositions. Yeah, if you feel kind of like one way 1 second and the opposite another second, or from one day to the next even, like that's to be expected on this week. So we have a big transition of the moon. It goes into Taurus. We call it an ingressing into Taurus. And so here we have that sense of stability. We have a sense of comfort. Taurus is very nurturing. I mean, it's all about safety and comfort and stability and pleasure. And so this, at least like the moon, gets to relax. And the moon here is in its exalted position. So it is the best sign for the moon to be in. It's the happiest, most coziest location for the moon. So talk about like getting cozy and comfortable, like that, whatever gives you that sensation. That's what you want to indulge yourself in on this day, especially after, the day we have on Wednesday. So there's a lot of appreciation for, sensory like experiences, things that are luxurious in feeling and in taste and smell and sight. There's a love for beauty. So surrounding yourself around beauty, maybe go get some flowers and put it in your living room or your kitchen table. Little acts like that can do so much for Moon in Taurus here. All right. Now, and it likes to be around comforting relationships, not dramatic conflict-oriented ones. So let's focus on, nice connections, pleasant connections, loving and sweet kind connections on this day. Now we also have moon in sextile with Saturn right here. And so that brings even more stability, security. You may also want to take care of some things that are more about your responsibilities, just stuff that needs to get taken care of. You'll have probably more energy for that because, things that maybe you have ignored or neglected that really has needed attention. This day you'll probably feel more motivated to tackle that stuff. It's also a really favorable time when moon is sextile with Saturn to start setting some goals. Just, start dreaming it out, writing it out. Not that it's set in stone, but we are kind of going towards the end of the year. So this would probably be a good time to start reflecting on how you like to see next year to look like and how you like next year to what you want next year to be about. Okay, what do you want it to be about? All right. Now, we do have Sun square Neptune, and that's a little challenging of an aspect because Neptune in a square that can bring some uncertainty, that could bring some confusion. And that's why I'm saying what we're exploring, like our potential future goals or potential 2025 goals, it's just an exploration. We're in exploratory mode. Nothing is set in stone. So if you feel doubt, like, I don't know if this is even possible, like those feelings are going to naturally come up with a Neptune square sun. And let them be. We don't have to attach, too much meaning to it. But if they surface, and that's okay. So there's a lot of, like I said, the whole dreams reality, fantasies and practicality, like that dynamic, that push pull is really present in the air right now. So if you've like, oh, I really want this, but that doesn't seem possible, or that doesn't seem realistic, that's a pipe dream, right? Like that internal conversation may be coming up quite a bit. Yeah, and even another thing too with this Sun square Neptune is maybe you have wanted something for a long time, but now you're kind of questioning and doubting, like, do I actually want that? And that's the thing with this whole Sagittarius energy and this Mercury retrograde. Mercury is our thinking, our mind, and there's a call for us to really, now we've had Pluto, transition to Aquarius, like in this new world. Who do I really want to be and how do I want to show up? Because maybe you've had a plan for the last 10 years and every year you try to like enact to that plan and it hasn't fully panned out, right? But here it's like, instead of just autopiloting, oh, these are my goals that I'm just carrying over from the previous year that it didn't manifest and I want to happen in 2025, maybe those are not relevant anymore. Maybe those are outdated. So that's what I'm talking about. There is a lot of deep internal reflection here. And it's okay if you're questioning and doubting, like, what do I truly need and want in my life? And so do a lot of journaling, do a lot of reflection, have a lot of conversations. Even though Mercury's in retrograde, it's still a good way to there is a call, like Mercury connecting into Venus too, like having this sextile. You want to talk things out with close people, okay, in your life, the really true friends, okay, true friends, and if you have a loving partner, like really have a lot of discussions and exploratory discussions, okay, just let it all out, because I think in that process you'll start to get more and more clarity as we go into the end of January and February. All right. So, all right, that's a long discussion on Neptune. Let's continue on to Friday. Now, on Friday, we have our moon still in Taurus, nice place. We do have an opposition to Mercury, so sometimes that can make it challenging for us to express our feelings, try to put words to what we're internally going through. It does have a sextile to Neptune, so I do love this one. With the sextile to Neptune, this is going to make our intuition sharper, clearer, and so even our emotions, like that will heighten, our emotions too and what we're sensing. This feels more of like an internal experience here, where you are going to tap into more of your imagination as well and your visioning abilities. But this is a good time for any kind of artistic work too, whenever we have a beautiful conversation between Moon and Neptune. We do have Moon conjunct Uranus. I love this conjunction. I find this conjunction where this is where I get like the lightning strike of a revelation or an understanding, something something that comes into clarity. I'm like, wow, oh my gosh, I just connected this. So allow for that experience to happen as Moon and Uranus are really close together. It does create a desire for like spontaneous things and breaking out of routine and doing something random. Like I love the randomness of Uranus. I feel like I have some decent Uranus energy in my chart, and so I'm very welcoming of that. Here is one little interesting thing though. The moon in Taurus, it likes stability and it doesn't like change. It doesn't want to like rock the boat here, but then you have Uranus coming in, poking in, and it's like this major disruptor. So this will probably, because it's a conjunction, help you to just let go of some of that stubbornness and that resistance and allow for a new experience to just slide into your day and into your life. So that's that one. And then we have the moon in trine with Pluto. Oh, just this is so revealing. Okay, this is a very revealing work. Actually, look at this. We have, I don't know if you could see it, but there is like a little mini grand trine here. So Pluto is going to help us, like I said before, really access, like when it was in sextile earlier, it's going to help us to really access the deeper work that we need to do and address. So I think you're going to feel a lot of feels on this day with all this Uranus and Pluto conversation. But it's going to be good. You know, it's not going to be like, not just tumultuous, like you're going to welcome it. It's going to feel refreshing to you. It's going to feel like a new birth. You're going to feel revitalized in the process. You're going to feel alive. That's the sensation I get with this configuration. All right. Now, on Saturday, we have moon that has changed signs and it has now ingressed into Gemini. So now we're in a completely different sign. Now it's airy. Now it's floating around. Now it wants to be social. You know, what's in Taurus, it just kind of wants to hunker down at home. But when we're dealing with with Gemini, we want to, you know, like socialize and talk and have all kinds of conversations, have multiple conversations in one day. And not only that, it's conjunct Jupiter, which expands it, right? So then our need for just dialogue and discussions and just like talk things through, talk things out is only going to be enhanced. We also have an opposition with Mercury. So talk. That's what I'm going to say. Saturday, go socialize, because I feel that that's going to be very comforting. It's going to be very revelatory. It's going to be healing. Like it's going to satisfy your moon, and it's what you need on this day. So a lot of networking, also a lot of like writing, reading, learning, anything that deals with mental activities. Your mind is going to be going on this day, just not only because it's in Gemini, but also because it is conjunct. It's right next to Jupiter, which then just, you know, amplifies it times 10. All right. We also have moon trine Venus, which is nice, which makes like our conversations with our friends and our partner and all of that being very, very fluid and productive and fun and harmonious. And you know, Venus is still near Pluto, so also very healing and transformational. So go play on Saturday with people, all right? Go interact with people. Do things that are very stimulating, that are engaging. I mean, your mind just needs a lot of stimulation at this time. We do have Moon square Saturn. That is one that's kind of possibly like a little annoying, like in a sense of I need to take care of my responsibilities, feeling a little bit burdened by responsibilities. Look, if you got to take care of some responsibilities, fine. But I am going to say largely, please, after the week we've had, please go socialize. Don't hermit at home on Saturday. That's not the best use of it. And then Venus is also trine Saturn. So there's just going to be a lot of like stability that comes from these connections. You're going to feel like you have a solid foundation in your life with these people. So it's going to add so much richness to you and comfort and security. And so please go socialize. That's my last time I'm going to say that. Now, Sunday is our full moon day. We have a full moon in Gemini. When you see the sun and moon, in opposition to each other like this, that means we have a full moon. It's actually happening quite early. I think it's something like 4 a.m. Pacific time, something like that. So when we have full moons, there's again, like the moon, which is our internal world, is lit up bright, right? So there is a lot of self-reflection, a lot of things that are being revealed that originally is hidden. And then think about like your new moon seeds that you planted in Sagittarius a couple of weeks ago. Some of the new moon seeds that you planted then are going to really show up and present themselves, come more into light, come more into fruition here at the full moon cycle. So as I said, being social, right? Like this is, I'm going to say it again, in being in Gemini, conversing, talking things out, like start sending messages to people you haven't spoken to in a while, for example, people that obviously that are important to you and meaningful to you. But start some conversations, maybe like get a group going in a chat thread where you all can just bond and connect. I want to see a lot of bonding happening. I feel like that's going to be the way where you learn a lot about yourself and others and the world and how things are moving in the world. I think you're going to learn so much by interacting with other humans. And look, I get it. Like it's very easy to, especially as an empath, to not connect with others. It's easy to do that too because it can be overwhelming. But I think that it's going to be more refreshing to you and very healing and comforting to you at the same time. Okay, so lots of communication, a lot of discussion. We do have Moon square Neptune. This can be a little challenging, okay? Neptune brings that confusion. So if you have some uncertainty about how you feel about something, you're not really sure how you feel about something. This is why I'm saying the talking. Some of us do process really well through the very act of talking and speaking things out. And that's what needs to happen. That's what's going to bring you into clarity. And that's what's going to help you to combat this whole square Neptune if you're feeling confused about your feelings and confused about your thoughts. Like it's through the talking it out that's going to really support you and help you out. Okay? All right. So that is our forecast. Thank you so much. If you want to learn more about how to support yourself through all of the cosmic energies, please check out Rise and Thrive below. I'll go ahead and put the link down below. That's where I provide all kinds of blends and protocols and meditations and workshops just to help you move through all that we are exposed to day to day. And then if you would like to have your chart read, then you can also look, I'll put down below as well, a link to a cosmic clarity consultation where we deep dive into your core energies, your purpose, your profession, whatever your relationships, whatever is really important to you, we focus on. But definitely understanding your baseline energies is fundamental. Understanding your moon, fundamental to your own emotional well-being and energetic well-being. And there are sometimes just little things you need to do that greatly support you and make a massive difference in feeling more harmonious and at peace. One of my tricks that I teach often, even here, especially here, is know your moon and know where the moon is today. And if you are able to honor both of them, okay, you are going to feel way more grounded, more harmonious, more peaceful internally. That's the trick. Honor your natal moon and honor the current moon of today. Find a combination of the both. And just that alone, whew, huge. Okay. Love you so much. We will see you in the next forecast.